Like, it's okay to go with something that even feels counter to what everyone else is doing if you know that that's really what you want.
You're listening to Out of Line with Caroline Lee, exploring offline realities with online personalities. Jen Gotch is a creative entrepreneur who cares about color and quirk. She founded Ban.do with a friend in 2008 and transformed it from a small, vintage, one-of-a-kind hair accessory company into a multi-million-dollar brand. After selling Ban.do, Jen has remained on as the Chief Creative Officer and fearless leader of the Ban.do team, and has also become an important activist in the realm of mental health. Jen shares about her own mental illness, depression, divorce, and more of her genuine life experiences on her personal social media channel and leaves almost no topic untouched. She was my most requested guest from all of you, and so I loved getting to have her over to my place to talk about something she's never discussed on her online platform, her choice to not have kids. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I want to get this.
It's really good. It's delicious. Yeah. One of my, he's, have you ever met Ryan? He's Waking Up with Ryan. He does every morning, he does an email that with he's sort of like guru, yogi, whatever, but he does all the big parties and big festivals, and his boyfriend does house flipping. And so his boyfriend has this whole thing of flipping houses, and the two of them together are just they have more abs than the rest of everyone I know put together.
That's amazing.
I counting them to make sure they're all there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, cool. Any questions before?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Feeling good?
Yeah, I like that glass.
Yeah, thanks. Which one? The circly one?
This, yeah.
It's a freaking IKEA from years ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I bought 10 of them, and because it's IKEA, they break in 8 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And one time we came home from being away, and we had a friend that was house sitting, and he was like, yeah, I was here alone, and I got drunk, and I broke 4 of your glasses.
Oh my God.
So we have 2 left.
That's
but they're
amazing.
really cute.
They're
really
amazing.
cute. Yeah. So yeah, that's your story for the day about IKEA glasses. But I'm so excited you're here. Can't wait to talk. I know I told you that you're besides me.
You told me
that you're the most requested.
Yeah, and I was getting ready this morning, and I'm wonder if she says that to everyone as a hook. And then I was like, man, you just fell for that. You just fucking fell for that.
I love that you would even think that.
Yeah, I was like,
no.
I
promise you, I've never told anyone else that because it's actually true. Okay. I'm not much of a...
You mean you don't seem like a liar to me per se,
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I was like, what if I just fell for that?
No. I'm totally genuine. Whenever I say guys, I want you to DM me. Who do you want? It's always you and me. It's always,
love it.
I want someone to interview you. And then Jen Gotch over and over
Now
again.
we're here together.
I
should have brought questions, and we could have killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
I know. Well, we'll just have you come back another time, and you can interview me.
Okay. I love it.
I would be terrified, but I'm ready.
Why? I don't think I'm a good interviewer.
Oh, well.
We'll find out. We'll find out when I interview you next week.
Oh. So, all right. So you're sort of, you're all over the internet. You're very online. You're we all know Jen. We all know Big Blind. We know you. We love you.
That's
we know
nice.
all of the different, elements of your life that you share. So you are very much, you share what's going on.
Too much, in fact.
Well, that's for you to say. But I was curious about specifically one of the things that I was thinking about when people would say, I want Jen on. And I'm like, well, this whole show is all about talking about things that aren't just all over online. Yeah. And I'm like, what's something that Jen hasn't talked about online that I kind of want to know about?
Yeah.
And I know I already told you this, so I'm not freaking you out.
Yeah, no. It wouldn't freak me out anyways, but
I was like, I wonder about her process with kids and having kids, not having kids.
I hate kids. No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
well, an interview
that could be your
over.
full quote. Full quote will be like, there's always like a cute pink background and like a nice font, and it'll just be like, I hate kids. Jen Gotch. It's not true.
Well, interview over.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
me
being here. But basically, I was just curious. Is that something you can kind of let us into that process? Where you ever like, I might want to be a mom, or did you ever? I mean,
Yeah.
let's dive in.
Yeah. I definitely felt like I wanted to be a mom when I was in high school and college. And I would literally part of how I would decide who I would date would be by their last name, because I was like planning my kids' first names and I wanted it to jive with the last name. So I dated someone with the last name Standish, which is a great name. Hightower, like I was not kidding around. So, so it was definitely a fantasy for me. And then I broke up with my college boyfriend and sort of went on this different path, which included a small nervous breakdown at like 22. So I moved back home, and then I went out to California and in an abridged version found my independence, which I was not a very independent. I was a very codependent person. But I sort of found that, and so I think that was like step one in sort of like being comfortable and really enjoying just being alone. So like no boyfriend, no children, no nothing. But there's also like sort of what society, there's still the pressures of that. And this was before social media, so you didn't even know what half the pressures were, and there was still pressure. But I definitely didn't have, like, in my early mid 20s, even into my late 20s, I wasn't feeling like when I held a baby, like I needed to have a baby. Like that didn't come. And I kind of figured, well, when I fall in love, like it'll happen. And I fell in love and got married, and it never happened. Like it wasn't super conscious. I just think that I had other things on my mind that I wanted to do. I had at that point started watching my friends have children, and I actually filmed my best friend's delivery. Like I was like, I was
up in there.
Like I was like the camera in front of the area. And I don't think I should have seen that.
Oh,
like,
was it trauma?
Well, it's just there's a lot of details that you don't know. And so I think like,
I photographed 7 births. So I understand.
Yeah, you've seen the down there and what happens. Yeah. I mean, it's also incredibly beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like I could appreciate that too. But I think just like my relationship with my friends being pregnant, seeing my friends give birth, watching them turn into parents, seeing how that changed their life for better or for worse. I sort of understood the enormity of the responsibility in a way that when I was fantasizing it and just trying to figure out what the name would be, like I had no idea what the sacrifice. And I just don't, like, I think the reality is like I just don't know that I'm equipped to make that sort of sacrifice. Like I feel pretty maxed out anyways. And so with Andrew and I, a lot of our marriage was not ideal. Like our relationship was great, but we struggled a lot just like with our own personal happiness and how that affected the relationship. And I think having parents that sort of went through a similar thing, and my parents are still together and they're great and they've been through a lot together, but I was sort of like exposed to arguments all the time, and I feel like it affected me And I feel like my parents are going to listen to this and then they're going to feel bad, but I'm over it, guys. But I think I was really sensitive to not wanting to repeat that. And I just felt like there was never like an ideal point to introduce a child into our relationship. And I think when you couple that with sort of birthing a business, which is like Ban.do is my baby. And I feel very connected to it in that way. But I think like between doing that, understanding the challenges at home, and then not actually having any physical urges, because I'm assuming that would trump everything. I've never had it, so I don't know what it feels like. But watching people do things at really inopportune time, like have a baby at a very inopportune time, I'm like, that must just be a really strong pull. I didn't have any of that. And I never really thought about it. I mean, even though I think when I was younger, the societal pressures were bigger for me. But now I'm just like, and also I feel like you see more people not having kids and it doesn't seem like so unheard of. And I think I was reading something, I feel like there was like a roundup of like women in Hollywood that haven't had kids. And I think it was Sarah Silverman that was like, when that's the thing I want more than anything else, then I'll consider it. But until then, like, it just seems crazy. And I probably just massacred her quote, if that was even her. But I was like, that's sort of how I feel. So it's not to say that I wouldn't wake up tomorrow and be like, I want a baby. I don't know how it works. But like, I don't feel like I missed out. I mean, every once in a while, you know, especially as I get older, and so most of my friends are mothers, like I feel like I'm not part of a certain club, and there's things about their lives that I'll never understand, but I can live with that.
So with you and Andrew and your relationship together, did you guys talk about it much? Like, was he ever like, hey, it's really important to me to have kids? And you were like, no,
no,
just never.
I think when going into marriage, like we definitely talked about it. And then I feel like we both just quietly knew that it was not a great idea. You know, I mean, we really didn't talk about it that much. He's not really a talker. So, and because I already sort of knew how I felt, like I didn't really bring it up. But I think I have a sense that he felt the same way, because otherwise I think he definitely stands up for what he believes in. I think if he felt like he was missing out, he would have said something. He also hates kids, if you want to use that.
Oh, man. It's interesting what you're saying about, you know, the societal pressures, because I think they're, especially with, I mean, talking about things like patriarchy, it's just like, you are a woman. Yeah. And that is what your main role is. Yeah. And that expectation, I think, can make I have people that I know who are now in a similar age range that you are. Yeah. And they're going, I have 2 kids and I never really wanted this path. I just thought it's what I had to do. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, obviously I'm really happy those humans are on this earth that they birthed, but it is also a bit sobering to be like, whoa, like to make a life choice. It's not something like a marriage where you can even go, hey,
change my mind.
This isn't working. It's like you've got a human that's now a part of your life forever. Yeah. And I think it's really important that people know what they're like, that they can choose. Like, and that's also another weird part of modern, like America and the West, especially, is that, I mean, it's so new that women can even choose. Yeah. And especially, not only, I'm not even talking about being pro-life or pro-choice. I'm saying in society, we now can say like, oh no, I don't want kids. And people aren't like, I'm sorry, what?
You're so weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And even in terms of medicine and in terms of like women making enough money that they can take care of themselves, like this is very new. This is not something that, our great grandmas were like, just sitting there really thinking, do I want to have kids? Like this is a weird thing. Yeah. And so that's interesting that you're talking about that. I guess when you're around kids, have you ever, you were saying you maybe someday you'll wake up and be like, oh, but you've always just, you just
I can appreciate kids, and I love kids. You can put that right after the "I hate kids" quote, just to confuse people. No, I love kids. Was always like, even into my late 20s, would be like a camp counselor or an art teacher, or like, I think there's a lot to be learned from kids, and it's such a precious thing. But even just being with my friends' kids for a day, I'm just like, I don't know how you do that. And I feel like, I mean, obviously you figure it out. So many people have figured it out, but yeah, it's never made me want that. But I also think there's like an interesting thing, because I'm so freed up in that way, that like I can take care of people. Like I can still, like, I'm not going to be a mom, but I can still like foster these relationships. And like, I sort of think about when all my friends' kids are like teenagers, like they can come live with me, and I can be like this alternate, like the cool aunt or something, and have a different angle. And so I just feel like it just has left space for me to care about a lot of different people, instead of knowing that I have to like sort of preserve all that energy for my 1, 2, 3, 4 kid, like whatever would have happened. So
yeah, that's so true.
know.
It's so true. And like, I'm a godmother, and I have a few people in my life that their kids are super, super close to me. And I definitely love that. And I think about almost like rolling it way back to more kind of tribal community, where it was like you're all in the same space together.
Yeah.
And you literally do have, it takes a village kind of mentality where everyone's raising each other. It almost would have been easier to have kids, because then you're not doing it alone. Whereas now you are kind of choosing, do I want to like put Ban.do on the back burner so that I can move a small child to the front burner and hopefully not burn them in the process.
Yeah.
But
they definitely would have been set on fire if I had done that, because I definitely would not be able to manage 2 giant things like that.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And having friends that I've also been a part of their lives when they've gone from being parents, from not being parents to being parents, and being the friend that experiences both versions of them. I'm like, well, I have a lot of space and understanding for the fact that now you're a parent and your energy and your priorities have totally shifted. Yeah. But also, like, there is a lot of like, oh, that like the level of friendship it's a huge priority shift. And I remember after sort of experiencing that as a couple, for us, we, when we got married, we had a lot of friends that didn't have kids. And then it's like, they'd be like, okay, we're having a baby, and then they have the baby. And you see the friendship change and evolve, and it's not bad, but it's just never going to be the same. And I think like by the 3rd or 4th friend couple, I was just like, let's just cut them out right now. Let's just be easier, Yeah. And just because it's just like, it just totally changes the dynamic. But it's not, and now I feel like anyone that we were sort of away from, I've reconnected with a lot of those people. But it is, people, because like the idea of sort of like not having kids is now more common. I'm excited to see how people talk about that, and like, so that, because I feel like people with kids don't consider, like, it's not a thing to really consider your friends without kids, because it's like, you got it easy. You don't even have any kids. Where it's like, there are things that are hard about that. But so I feel like in the next, 5-10 years, almost in the same way that like I kind of work to de-glamorize success, because that's the thing I know the most about. And I feel like I want there to be a warning, because it's not, everything is made to look so easy. I feel like there probably needs to be more of that on the parenting side.
And I think it's hard. That would be even harder than what I'm doing. But I think people will do it, even to just know like how much people talk about it now. But if you look at the landscape, there'd still be a lot more like social media things set up to be like, look, beautiful, great, curated. When it's like I'm saying, for me, the thing that made me realize not to have kids is I saw firsthand how hard it was. And I was like, wait, this is a huge decision. This isn't like something you just go into. So
that is like 42 things that you just said. I'm like, yep. There was a Harper's Bazaar online article that came out a few weeks ago, and I emailed it to myself, and then I had to prepare like mentally to read it for a few days because I was like, I'm either gonna like violently be sick or cry. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be intense. And it was like social media perfect mothers or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just all of these, photos of women that some of us know.
Yeah,
and they're
I'm
like
sure.
walking.
And they are great mothers.
They're amazing mothers and they're amazing women. But it's like, but I feel like that is almost dangerous in the same way that people would say, oh, Disney princesses falling in love is bad for little girls to know what love is because, love is a lot harder than it looks like in Hollywood or whatever the little cliche thing is.
That is true.
It's like, and also being a parent is a lot harder than it looks like in your Instagram feed.
It's so hard. Yeah. It's so hard.
And I don't know. I just know by watching and experiencing. And I think that's the other thing, being older, a lot of my friends had kids early in their 20s.
Yeah.
And it was like when I'm around a baby, I just want a baby.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're just like, oh, all my internal waters are just flowing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That is
biological clocks, all of that stuff.
Yeah. But then now that I'm older, and I feel like even for me making my own decision, I feel like I'm going into it with my eyes so open that it's almost like I wish I didn't know. I wish I didn't know how hard it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's sort of like, okay, I can choose this and it can be super enriching and amazing and wonderful. But also I know that my life will never be the same and I can't get it back if I decide I want it back. And there's so many things to think about.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, I talk to my therapist a lot about it.
You do seem to have it figured out.
No, I don't.
I think you would be a great mom because you can you're a great multitasker.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, and you like think of all the things you're just like, I'm going to try this and do that. And I'm going to try this and do, I feel like I'm not like that. So that's why I was like, I'll crumble. I seem like I'm like calm, cool, and collected, but it's literally just because I know how much I can handle and I don't give myself any more than that. But once I get even close to that, I like completely dissolve. So,
and knowing yourself is so good, so healthy, and knowing yourself enough to be honest about what you can handle or should handle or want to handle.
Yeah.
That's all something that I mean, even in my session last week, I was like, I feel so guilty that I can sit here and talk about, like I was talking to my therapist, and I was like, I feel so guilty that I can sit here and be like, should I, shouldn't I? What does it look like? I don't know. Blah.
Yeah.
And she talked me through this beautiful thing of like letting everyone be in their, anyway, it was great. But I think it's just one of those things that like now being in a season of, with technology, with everything that we have that does allow us to know ourselves so well. Not that technology helps us know ourselves, but kind of.
It gives you a perspective on other people, and then I think that helps.
Yeah.
You figure out, like, am I like that? Am I not like that?
I think.
Do I like that? Do I not like that?
And even time hops popping up and being like, wow, I've changed in 5 years.
I'm not into those. Nothing good is happening.
Just like,
I'm at the point in my life
dark.
where it's just downhill. Like someone sent me a picture from like 6 years ago. I was like, ugh, my skin was just like so much tighter. I I want to, if anyone can just tell me how to like disarm the memories on Facebook, that would be cool for me.
Just if anybody, hey, Mark, if you're listening to this, can you help us out?
That's amazing. The best part in my brain is like, who's Mark? He sounds cool. And then I figured out. Okay.
Oh,
Anyways,
man.
good.
Okay. So I want to know if, let's say you're talking to people that you either know or don't know right now.
Yeah.
What's something you want people to know about someone who chose not to have kids?
It's okay. You know, it doesn't, you're not any less and you're not any less fulfilled if that was a decision you went into like knowingly and willingly. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons because there's also people that don't have kids because they can't have kids and they really want kids. I can't speak to that, but I feel like for me, like it's okay to go with something that even feels counter to what everyone else is doing if you know that that's really what you want. It took me a long time to figure that out. Like I think there was like a part of me that was like, you're weird. Like you should do this or, but I'm past that now and I'm just like, that's you. If you're not crying about it, it's probably fine. Even if it seems, even if it doesn't look like everybody else. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. It's okay.
Yeah.
I like
it's
that.
Okay.
It's okay. It is. It's okay. Yeah. And if anybody's listening and they need to know that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's usually okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like getting to that with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of deconstruction happening right now. And 2017 has been a big year to be a woman.
Too much.
It's been a lot.
Too much.
It's been a lot. And on one hand, like I was thinking about, starting the year off with the Women's March and like that was amazing. And that was such a coming together to kind of like have a visual of like, hey, we're in this.
Yeah.
And we're not like, we're all over this and we're all on our feet together. And this is, and not even just women, but like we're surrounded by our allies and we have this army that's all together and that's amazing. And then on the other hand, you have all of the sexual assault stuff coming out. And there's like a section in the New York Times that's like sexual assault, which I'm just like,
so crazy.
What? But like also that's good. Like that's so good that this is when that's all we're like done. It's time.
Yeah.
Because if women would have felt free to talk about this a long time ago, it would have looked different a long time ago. So it's an interesting season to be a woman. Sometimes I'm like, man, if I was like just, 20 years younger, I could be coming along with a little bit. But I love where I am. I love that I'm kind of like we are sort of at the front end of like
for sure.
the ones bashing
Revolution.
Yeah. I love it.
It's true. It's crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy.
Yeah, maybe we should do like a panel.
Do a panel on?
Love panels.
Do you?
Less pressure.
It is. It's way less pressure. You don't have to prepare like a...
Yeah, but I like a nicely curated panel. There's an art to the panel. You can't just like pop a bunch of people up.
What do you look for in your panels?
Well, for me... I mean, obviously the subject matter has to resonate, make sense. And then I think it's just like, I mean, you have to sort of trust the person that's doing it. The only panels that I've done was the panel that we did the other day at the Penthouse, which I curated with people that I know and could speak to what we were doing. But I think it's like, you just have to trust the person that's organizing it, that, people will talk, but not talk too much, that they're good listeners and good speakers, and that they bring a different point of view to the subject matter. And that the biggest thing is like a willingness to be transparent and to answer questions. Because I feel like I've been at a lot of things where there have been panels and you just know people are not going to give information. Like they're just like... And then there's me just like,
all
A
information.
hose of information.
Yeah, it is true. There are certain people that I'm like, wow, you didn't really say anything.
Yeah, it's not valuable. It's not valuable, and then it's not fun. So I think ultimately, like, people that can get into a great conversation, like, to me, when you get, I mean, even the same with the podcast, it's like when you can get into a conversation and then the listener or the audience member is just like eavesdropping on people talk about a subject is more interesting than feeling like people are sort of giving you controlled responses to something. But I don't know how. I mean, I've never like had any panel training or, it's just like I just say yes to it because I'm like, that's a fun way to get out there and interact without having to prepare a 60-minute keynote.
Oh, and especially the visuals. That's the hardest part, having to make the visuals be good.
Yeah. Well, I've got a great team of people that help me with that.
That's not fair.
Yeah. Last time I did one, the projector didn't work, so I didn't have my visuals. It was fine though.
Shattering.
We made it work. It was okay.
Did you just describe each slide?
Basically. I was like, okay, so here's another slide.
Well, I bet if we did a panel of women, like all, from the ages of 18 to,
46,
45.
46, just so I can be on it.
Just so you can be on it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess like how old, I mean, in with all of the technology, medicine, what's the word? Modern medicine that people have access to now. I mean, women are having babies very late. I think into their early 50s, right?
I mean, I feel like that's what Janet Jackson did. If I was going to think about the women that I know personally and have come up with.
Well, especially if you freeze your eggs.
Oh.
I mean, there's lots of time.
I think also you can adopt. There's lots of ways to be a parent too at any age. So
yeah, but if we did a survey of 12 women or even 1,200 women, I bet you anything there would be all different answers. There would be all different, like what is the ideal for each person. And it's also weird to have so much. Like you were saying before, some people can't even have kids. And so to be like, oh, I want it to be this way, or I want it to look this way, or I want to get pregnant when I'm this old with this partner. And then it's like, sometimes you go, all right, let's do it. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's also something that I think is a dangerous thing to get in our minds, that we can just do it when we want to do it and snap our fingers and be like, okay, whatever age I want, or with, I want to make sure I have like love first. I mean, so many of my friends are now single parents because their relationship didn't work out.
Right.
And so it's a weird time to be like, I can choose everything and be in control of everything. But then also.
Yeah. Well, you're never like, control is just a mirage. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, you can feel more in control, but ultimately none of it is really up to us. So at least that's what I think. You can quote me on that. That one you can quote me on.
I love it.
Let's leave the I hate kids out of the. You bleep me every time I say it.
Every time you say I hate kids, you just go.
Yeah.
I like it.
You can just do like an advertisement or something.
Okay. It's going to happen.
Okay. Well, I will say, I just want to make sure that I'm clear that how in awe and proud I am of all of my friends that have children, and that my choice to do it doesn't mean that I feel like they made a bad choice. And I mean, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe that they can do that. I'm in total awe of them. And they're all like, I don't think I know any shitty parents. I mean, I feel like they're all like really doing it, and not in lots of different ways, but they're just so there, and and they really have their priorities straight. And it's definitely one of those things where I just look at it and be like, yeah, no, definitely couldn't do that. But anyways, I just wanted to make sure that was clear, because I feel like it sounds like I'm not bashing parenthood, and just realizing my own potential is not there. Yeah.
I really, no, I'm hearing that loud and clear. It doesn't feel negative at all. Okay. And I think that's I think that's one thing that sometimes is hard for me and for Jaden when because we have so many friends that have kids. I think we have especially like one friend group that we hang out with all the time, and we're the only ones that don't have kids.
Yeah.
And it can sometimes feel a little bit like, oh, like the ones who don't understand, or like the ones who are mad at us because we can't be as spontaneous.
Yeah. And it's none of that.
And it isn't. It isn't. Like we adore our friends' kids. We adore our friends. We think they're amazing parents. And so I think if anything, my hope is that as more people choose what's right for them, rather than having like the social, cultural pressure of like, this is what you do and you don't question it.
Yeah.
But actually being like, hang on, does that work for me? That people will just be more accepting of each other's choices and not making it like a personal slight against them, just as if just as if someone else makes a choice to live in a different state.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they don't like LA?
Yeah.
What's wrong with LA? Why don't they like LA? Yeah. Do they think I'm bad because I live in LA? They'd be like, no, I'm so glad that they like Chicago. Yeah. I think it's cold there, and I think, like whatever.
Way too cold there.
Ugh, whatever. But just in that same way of like, oh, I'm so glad that works for you. That it won't feel like a personal attack or like any reason to get insecure because someone else chose something different than you did.
Yeah.
And I really I love that you're clarifying that, but like I definitely am not picking up on any sort of like baby bashing.
Good. No baby bashing here. So many quotes.
I know. It's good. It's good. So everyone that has kids, we love you. We love your kids. We think that you're amazing. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, if I do have kids, I think I'm going to put like $1 aside every day of their life and then just give it to them and say, this is for therapy.
That's nice. Yeah.
Just $1 a day.
If I did that, I would do probably $25 a day because they would need so much. I should calculate what the invest, because my parents paid for my therapy for many years.
Really?
Yeah.
Dr.
I mean,
Jamie.
I shamed them into it. Dr. Jamie and the amazing Serena. I was like, you did this. You pay for it. Also, I didn't have any money.
Yeah. My parents have never paid for my therapy, but that sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I should try the shaming route.
Yeah. No, it was lovely.
Dad,
I think it's easier to do when you're, send money.
Dad.
Help.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny. So all of that to say, more grace for everyone.
Yep.
Choose your path. Love it. The end. Stick around for part 2 of this discussion to hear a Q&A with Jen about her social media practices. This episode of Out of Line was produced by me, Caroline. All sound editing, engineering, and original music composition by Jaden Lee. And a big thank you to Cat Footwear for working with Out of Line this season. Hit subscribe to get the next episode on your mobile device when it drops next week. And if you love what you heard, please whip out a review, will ya?